What happens when a girl accidentally finds a way to time travel? A way to step into the past and change anything she wants? At first it feels powerful, but every change starts breaking her future piece by piece. Soon she becomes trapped inside a loop of time, a paradox. Can she escape it, or will time erase her forever? Let's find out in today's new time travel twist story. The story starts in the present day, in a small town in France. A group of teenagers are partying by a river, drinking, laughing, dancing. Among them is a girl named Leia. She came with her friends, but unlike everyone else, she isn't enjoying any of it. She looks upset, distracted, because her parents fight all the time. So Leia walks away from the crowd, drunk and frustrated. As she wanders near the river, she accidentally trips over a rock and falls. When she looks up, she freezes. Right in front of her is something terrifying, an old human skeleton, and in its hand is a strange silver bracelet. Panicked, Leia reports it to the police. But one thought keeps bothering her. Whoever this person was, nobody ever found them. No one even knew they died. At the police station, Officer Casey tells her that based on the size and shape of the bones, the skeleton belonged to a young man, and it must be at least 30 years old. They tell her they'll now check records to see who went missing around that time. Soon, Leia's mother, Marina, arrives to take her home. Leia lives with her grandparents, her mother Marina, and her father Stefan. Everyone is worried that discovering a skeleton might have traumatized her. But Leia can't stop thinking about that body. Who was he? That question stays with her, even in her dreams. The next morning, everything is different. When Leia wakes up, her house doesn't look the same, and beside her in the bed is a small boy sleeping peacefully. Leia screams, totally shocked. Then she looks at her body and freezes. She's not herself anymore. She's inside the body of a boy. Panicking, she quickly gets dressed. While doing that, she finds something in the clothes pocket, the same silver bracelet she saw on the skeleton. And suddenly, everything makes sense. She is inside the body of the boy whose skeleton she found. His name is Thomas. Leia rushes outside in fear. She sees Thomas's life, his home, his parents, and his little brother Sam. She tries explaining to Thomas's parents, "I'm not Thomas, I'm Leia from the future," but they don't believe her. They think Thomas is just being dramatic or making up stories. Only Sam notices something strange. He whispers to her, "Whatever caused this, go back to where you found the skeleton. Maybe you'll return." It's the only clue she has, so she decides to go back to the river. But before she can, Thomas's father says Thomas must go help on a nearby farm. That's when Leia realizes Thomas's family is poor and survives by doing hard labor for richer families. Sam helps distract everyone so Leia can sneak away. As she runs, a boy named Pietro, the son of the farm owner and Thomas's classmate, spots her. Leia reaches the road and tries asking strangers for a ride, but everyone ignores her. Thomas is seen as poor and unimportant, so no one respects him. Frustrated, she keeps walking on foot. Eventually, she reaches the town center, and there, everything becomes clear. Why the clothes look old, why the place feels different. She hasn't just switched bodies, she has traveled back in time. It's June 15th, 1991, and now she understands. Thomas died many years ago. That skeleton she found, that was him. As Leia tries to figure out how to return home, a woman named Patricia approaches her. She tells Thomas to come with her for a music audition. If it goes well, his group can perform at a festival 6 days later, on June 21st. Patricia takes her to a house Leia knows extremely well, because in the future, it belongs to her grandparents. But now they are young, healthy, and full of energy. Leia tries telling them the truth, that she is their future granddaughter, but they don't believe her. To them, she's just Thomas. Soon they send her to meet their son, Stefan, and Leia freezes again. Stefan is her future father. Inside the room, she sees a couple, and when she looks closely, she gasps. They are her parents, long before marrying, back when they were happy, wild, and full of dreams. She tries telling them, "I'm your daughter, from the future. I'll be born in 2004. But again, everyone laughs and thinks she's joking. Patricia walks in and tells everyone to focus. The audition is important. As Leia watches, she notices something surprising. Her parents were once happy, deeply in love, nothing like the arguing adults she knows today. Before she can think more, Thomas's father bursts inside, angry. He yells because Thomas skipped work again for music practice. If the farm owner becomes upset, the entire family may lose their job. Standing there in Thomas's body, Leia suddenly feels crushing guilt. Without meaning to, she's making Thomas's already difficult life even harder. When Leia returns to Thomas's house, she finds his diary and begins reading it. Inside, Thomas had written many song lyrics and dreams for the future. That's when Leia realizes something. Thomas, her future father Stefan, and her mother Marina were once part of the same band. They all wanted to become famous musicians together. But another thought keeps troubling her. She traveled to the past. So can she change the future? Because she knows one thing. Thomas is going to die soon. To test the theory, she marks a page in his diary and tears off a small corner. If it exists in the future, then time can be changed. Before she can think more, Pietro, the farm owner's son, shows up. He's angry and starts beating Thomas because Thomas escaped work earlier. Leia isn't used to fighting or being in a boy's body, so she can't defend herself. Tired, hurt, and overwhelmed, she falls asleep on the bathroom floor. The next morning, when she opens her eyes, she's back in her real body, back in the present. She can't tell if everything she experienced was a dream or if she truly traveled to 1991. Still confused, she continues her normal routine and drives her mother to work. But then she freezes. She sees Pietro again. The same boy who bullied Thomas in the past is now a powerful CEO at her parents' company. Leia's heart pounds. Before going to college, she rushes to the exact place where she hid Thomas's diary in 1991. Her hands shake as she lifts a stone, and it's there, the diary, the same torn page. Her experiment worked. Both things are now proven. She really traveled to the past. Anything she changes there will affect the future. Excited and terrified, she runs to college and tells her best friend Rena everything. How she time traveled, lived in Thomas's body, and discovered her parents' secret past. Even Leia can't believe everything that happened. Later that day, both of them attend a town meeting. During the town meeting, Officer Casey explains that the police still don't know whose skeleton they found because several people went missing 30 years ago. It will take time to confirm. Suddenly, Leia stands up and blurts out, "That skeleton belongs to a boy named Thomas. He had a bracelet. Someone killed him near the river." The entire room goes silent. Everyone turns and stares, including a man sitting in the back. It's Sam, Thomas's younger brother, now an adult. Sam becomes furious. He yells at the police, saying his brother disappeared on the festival night, June 21st, 1991. And after more than 30 years, they finally find his remains? The police promise him they'll speed up the investigation. After the meeting, Sam walks up to Leia and demands answers. "How do you know my brother? You're a teenager. Thomas died over 30 years ago." But Leia can't tell him the truth. She doesn't even know how to save Thomas or how to avoid the paradox she's trapped in. Confused and stressed, she goes home and falls asleep. The next morning, everything changes again. She wakes up in the past. But this time, she isn't inside Thomas's body. She is inside her mother Marina's body. Leia is completely confused. Why has the timeline shifted? Why a different body? She checks the date. It's June 16th, 1991. One day after her first time travel experience. A new thought hits her. Did her mother have a secret relationship with Thomas? Could that be connected to his death? She searches Marina's belongings and finds a photo of Thomas, deepening her suspicion. Determined to find the truth, she decides she must investigate today. Outside, she sees her grandmother, alive and well. In Leia's real timeline, her grandmother died in 1998. Leia never got to meet her. Seeing her alive makes Leia emotional. She hugs her tightly, holding on to a moment she never had in her real life. Later, while still in Marina's body, she goes to college. There she meets Stefan, Marina's boyfriend at the time, and Leia's future father. But now Leia observes him differently. She needs to know whether her mother was loyal or whether Thomas was involved. Just then, Thomas appears. He tells them something strange. He can't remember anything from yesterday, almost like the entire day never happened, and his music diary is missing. That's when Leia understands. Thomas forgot yesterday because she lived inside his body yesterday. And tomorrow, when Leia leaves Marina's body, Marina will also forget everything from today. Her time jumps are rewriting memories. Wanting answers, Leia asks Thomas to spend time with her alone. They walk through open fields. Their conversation feels calm, almost innocent. Then they see Pietro nearby, practicing shooting with a gun. He looks like a spoiled rich kid trying to act powerful. After that, Leia, still inside Marina's body, and Thomas continued exploring together. They walked until they reached a cliff near the river. Thomas encouraged her to jump into the water from above, like it was something normal, but Leia suddenly froze. A horrible thought hit her. What if this is how Thomas dies? She panicked and yelled for him to come back, but Thomas jumped anyway. When he reached the water, he came back up laughing. He was completely fine. He had done this many times before. Then Leia remembered Sam's future words. Thomas disappeared on June 21st, 1991, which meant Thomas still had 5 days before his death. But how it would happen remained a mystery. Wanting answers about whether her mother ever had a secret relationship with Thomas, Leia did something shocking. Still in Marina's body, she suddenly started undressing in front of him and tried to kiss him. Thomas was confused. He immediately stopped her. He said, "What's wrong with you today, Marina? You're Stefan's girlfriend. I could never betray my best friend. And in that moment, Leia finally knew. Her mother never cheated. Thomas and Marina were never romantically involved, so Thomas's death was connected to something else entirely. Later that evening, everyone gathered, and Leia learned something important. Thomas wanted to leave the town and go to Paris with Marina and Stefan to chase their dream of becoming famous musicians. But Stefan didn't want to go. He wanted to stay and take care of his family's business. Marina stayed with him. Thomas was heartbroken and felt left behind. After Thomas walked away, Stefan saw Marina with him and misunderstood. Angry and jealous, he accused her of cheating and said he wanted to break up. Panicked, because this breakup could erase her future, Leia ran after him and begged him not to end their relationship. She kept repeating, "I love only you," because if her parents didn't stay together, Leia would never exist. The day ended with emotional chaos, but one thing was now clear: there was no affair. And now only 4 days remained before Thomas died. She had to find out the truth and stop it. That night when she fell asleep, she woke up again in her real body in the present. Now she understood how the time travel worked. Every time she slept, she returned to 1991, inside a different person, and lived one full day there. Then she came back to the present when she woke up. Later, she asked her parents, "You were in a band when you were young. Why did you quit music?" Both Marina and Stefan froze. They had never told her anything about their band. During lunch at a food truck owned by their classmate Dora, Leia saw Officer Casey. Casey asked her to step aside and revealed, "You were right. DNA confirms the skeleton is Thomas." Then she asked, "How did you know?" Leia couldn't talk about time travel, so she said the only thing she could. In college, Pietro used to hurt Thomas. Maybe Pietro killed him. Casey took the statement seriously but still looked confused. Later at home, Leia confronted her parents again. "Thomas was your friend, so you must know where he went on June 21st, 1991. The moment she said the date, her parents' expressions changed completely. They looked terrified, like that night held a secret they didn't want to remember. And once again, they avoided answering. Later that day, Leia discovered something shocking on her mother's tablet. Marina, her mother, was having an affair in the present. Leia felt confused and hurt. In the past, Marina sacrificed everything for Stefan. So why was she cheating now? Before going to sleep, Leia called Rena and Dora and explained everything. She told them, "Tomorrow I'll wake up in June 17th, 1991. I don't know whose body I'll be in, and I only have 3 days left to figure out how Thomas dies." Eventually, she fell asleep. When she opened her eyes again, she wasn't Thomas. She wasn't Marina. She was now inside Pietro's body, the rich, arrogant bully. The boy she suspected the most, because he hated Thomas and could have been the one who killed him. She remembered something from the future. On June 17th, Pietro and Thomas were supposed to fight at college. Right then, she noticed something embarrassing. She was in bed with Jennifer, another student. Jennifer quickly climbed out the window in shame. This confused Leia even more because in the future, Pietro was engaged to Sandra, yet here he was with Jennifer. Inside Pietro's life, Leia also saw how wealthy his family was and how many guns they owned. Her suspicion grew stronger. While heading to college, Pietro's friends told her that he truly loved Sandra. But a month ago, Sandra ended the relationship. At college, Leia overheard Marina and Stefan arguing. Like Thomas before, Marina now couldn't remember anything from the previous day. Stefan got jealous and thought she was lying because she had been with Thomas. But Leia had something more urgent to think about. She needed to stop the fight. If Pietro lost today, he might seek revenge later. And maybe that led to Thomas's death. So Leia went to Thomas and said, "We're not fighting today." But Thomas misunderstood. He thought Pietro was calling him weak again. He replied, "I'm not scared to fight." That's when Leia realized something important. Maybe Pietro loses today, and that humiliation makes him kill Thomas later. So she changed her plan. If she, inside Pietro's body, could win the fight, then Pietro would have no reason to attack Thomas later. Before the fight, she made another bold move. Jennifer walked by, and everyone bullied her. So Leia, still in Pietro's body, walked up to her and kissed her in front of everyone. The whole school went silent. Then she said loudly, "From today, no one insults Jennifer." Everyone, even Pietro's closest friends, was shocked. Finally, the fight began. At first, Leia struggled because she wasn't used to Pietro's body, but soon she realized Pietro was strong, much stronger than Thomas. In the end, she won. Thomas lost, and Pietro became the hero of the school. That night, Jennifer visited him again to thank him for protecting her. Leia felt hopeful. Maybe, just maybe, she had finally changed the timeline. Maybe now, Thomas would survive. After spending the night in Pietro's body, Leah unintentionally made Jennifer and Pietro an official couple. That night, she fell asleep next to Jennifer, still inside Pietro. The next morning, she woke up again in the present, back in her real body. The first thing she did was check online records. Did Thomas survive this time? Had she changed history? But the answer shocked her. Thomas still died. The same way, on the same date, nothing changed, which meant one thing. Pietro did not kill Thomas. The mystery was getting even more complicated. Determined to get answers, Leah went to her parents' company and confronted present-day Pietro. She asked directly, "Do you know what happened to Thomas on June 21st, 1991? Pietro looked stunned and claimed he knew nothing. Leah couldn't tell if he was lying or truly clueless. As she turned to leave, she saw something that shook her. Marina, her mother, meeting Pietro secretly. And then it became clear. Her mother's current affair wasn't random. It was with Pietro. Later, Leah told her best friend Rena everything. About the time jumps, the body swaps, and even accidentally being intimate with Jennifer while trapped in Pietro's body. They laughed at the ridiculousness of it. Then Leah casually asked, "Where's Dora? Why didn't she join us?" Rena stared at her in confusion. "Dora? Who's Dora? We don't have any friend named that." Leah froze. Inside her chest, panic spread. In this new version of the timeline, Dora didn't exist. Leah dragged Rena to where Dora's food truck used to be. Instead of Dora, it was only Dora's mother, alone. When Leah asked about her daughter, the woman laughed. "What daughter? I never even married." Leah felt her world collapse. Then she noticed a small detail, the tattoo on the woman's wrist. It was the same tattoo Jennifer had when Leah was inside Pietro's body. And suddenly everything made sense. By making Jennifer and Pietro a couple in 1991, Jennifer never met the man she originally would have married, so Dora was never born. One small change had erased an entire life. Leah explained everything to Rena. The past wasn't just history, it was fragile. Every emotional choice created ripple effects. Maybe in the original timeline, Rena was the one who ended up with Pietro. But since Leah interfered, everything shifted, and Dora vanished. Leah felt overwhelming guilt. She didn't travel to rewrite lives. She just wanted to save Thomas. But instead, she was breaking people out of existence. So she made a decision. She would go back and fix what she changed. She would break up Jennifer and Pietro and reunite Pietro with Sandra, the person he was originally meant to be with. Then maybe Dora would return. That night, Leah fell asleep with a new mission. And when she woke up, she was back in the past. June 18th, 1991. This time she was inside Sandra's body. Leah felt relieved. Sandra was exactly the person she needed to control to repair the timeline. Inside Sandra's life, Leah discovered things she didn't expect. Sandra came from a big, strict family. Her older brother Jonathan cared for her and protected her. Sandra's morning was chaotic, and Leah left late, looking messy. Students laughed at her, including young Stefan, Marina, and Thomas. Sandra wasn't popular. No one treated her well. But Leah stayed focused. She needed to fix Pietro and Sandra's relationship. She approached Pietro and flirted. Pietro looked confused and asked, "Why did you break up with me before? You said you liked me. What changed?" But because he was now with Jennifer, he kept his distance. Leah started to panic. Time was running out. Then suddenly she felt sick, dizzy, and nauseous. She took a pregnancy test, and the truth hit her. Sandra was pregnant. Pietro was the father. Only Sandra and Pietro knew. This was the key. After college, Leah climbed into Pietro's room and told him, "I'm pregnant." Pietro was shocked. She then said, "Leave Jennifer. You're supposed to be with me." Pietro resisted at first. He truly liked Jennifer. But the pressure, guilt, and responsibility were stronger. In the end, he agreed. Jennifer and Pietro would break up. Sandra and Pietro would get back together. And with that, Leah completed her mission for the day. Leah knew she had to focus again on saving Thomas. Still inside Sandra's body, she went to Stefan's house and secretly watched Stefan, Marina, and Thomas talk about their future. Thomas wanted all three of them to move to Paris and chase their music dream, but Stefan refused. He needed to stay and support his family. Marina chose to stay with him. Thomas looked heartbroken. Feeling rejected and completely alone, he stormed out. Leah didn't know what to do next. Then Sandra's brother Jonathan arrived to pick her up. He already knew Sandra was pregnant and gently asked, "What are you going to do about the baby?" But after everything she'd changed in the past, Leah knew she couldn't make choices for Sandra. So she said, "Ask me again tomorrow." She finally understood how fragile time really was. One choice could erase a life. Later that night, a new fear hit her. What if Thomas didn't die because someone killed him? What if he ended his own life after feeling abandoned? She made herself a promise. Tomorrow, no matter whose body she woke up in, she would find the truth. Then she fell asleep and woke up back in the present. The first thing she did was check on Dora. This time, Dora existed again. Her changes in the past had fixed the timeline. Leah hugged her, relieved. Something had finally gone right. But even now, only Leah remembered the version of reality where Dora disappeared. For everyone else, nothing was unusual. Only Leah was moving between timelines. Only she knew what changed. And only she truly understood how delicate time could be. Leah started searching online for Sandra to learn whether she kept the baby back in 1991. But she couldn't find anything. So she rode her bike to Sandra's childhood home to see her present life. Only Jonathan, Sandra's older brother, was there. He told Leah that Sandra visited sometimes, but she was now married to Pietro and living a happy life. Through their conversation, Leah finally confirmed that Sandra did keep the baby, and Jonathan helped her through it. This made Leah feel relieved. She had fixed that part of the past without ruining anything else. Feeling satisfied, she headed home. But halfway there, Officer Casey stopped her. She revealed the updated forensic report. Thomas didn't drown. He didn't slip. He didn't go missing. He was shot. Someone killed him with a bullet on June 21st, 1991. Leah froze. Was it suicide or murder? And if it was murder, who pulled the trigger? When Leah reached home, she saw her parents holding Thomas's diary, the same one she accidentally brought into the present timeline. She finally told them everything. The time travel, switching bodies, changing the past, trying to save Thomas. But her parents didn't believe her. She pushed again and asked, "You were Thomas's closest friends. What happened the night he died?" But they wouldn't answer. Their silence felt like guilt. Frustrated, Leah shouted, "Fine, then tell me why Mom is having an affair with Pietro." Everything exploded. Stefan stormed out to confront Pietro. Marina was shocked and furious. Leah, hurt and angry, yelled, "You left Thomas alone. Maybe you helped destroy him." Marina slapped her. Then she packed her bags and left, leaving Leah alone. Shaken, Leah called Rena and asked her to stay the night. She explained her plan. "Tonight when I fall asleep, I'll travel back again. When it happens, record everything. My breathing, my body, everything. I need to know what happens to me here while my mind is in the past." Because the truth was terrifying. When Leah's consciousness traveled to 1991, what happened to her real body in 2025? Was it sleeping, frozen, empty, or something worse? That night, Leah lay down, knowing she would wake up in the past again. And this time, only 2 days remained before Thomas's death. She didn't know whose body she'd enter next, but she knew two things. Time was almost gone, and someone in 1991 knew the truth. Someone fired the gun. Someone changed the future. Now Leah had to find them before time sealed itself forever. As soon as she falls asleep, her mind travels to the past again, and she wakes up on the 19th of June inside the body of Patricia. Patricia is the woman who is sponsoring Thomas's band performance at the festival happening on the 21st of June. Soon Leah realizes something shocking. Patricia supplies to Marina and the other band members. This makes Leah think Patricia might be connected to Thomas's death. A little later, Thomas arrives. He looks very sad because his friends are planning to leave after the festival, and he will be left alone. His home situation is not good enough to support his music dream. Leah, still in Patricia's body, comforts him. She tells him not to give up because she's afraid he might hurt himself. Thomas promises he won't. After he leaves, Leah finds something disturbing, a gun hidden under Patricia's bed. She begins to wonder if Thomas's death is connected to this weapon. Soon after, Leah wakes up again in the present. Now she is sure Patricia had a role in Thomas's death, so she and Rainey go to find present-day Patricia. On the way, Rainey explains that she recorded Leah the whole night, and she looked like a normal person sleeping. This means only Leah's consciousness travels to the past, while her physical body stays in the present. After searching, they find something surprising. Patricia is now an old woman living alone far away, and she is facing a case for killing her husband. Leah and Rainey go to her and confront her. Leah tells Patricia she knows about the gun she kept in 1991 and accuses her of killing Thomas. Old Patricia is shocked. She asks how Leah knows she used to hide a gun under her bed. She admits, "Yes, I did kill my husband, but I never killed Thomas." Then she angrily tells them to leave, but Leah and Rainey continue watching her secretly. Not long after the confrontation, Patricia takes the same gun from the past and throws it into a river. This makes Leah even more suspicious. She now strongly believes the gun was involved in Thomas's death, but she still has no proof. While walking back home, Leah saw her father. He looked broken. He had just found out about Marina and Pietro's affair, and he was extremely drunk. His eyes were red, his steps were unstable, and he looked like someone whose whole world had fallen apart. So Leah took his arm and helped him home. Stephen kept mumbling in his drunken state that Thomas was the only person who had ever truly cared about him. Everyone else, he believed, had betrayed him at some point. It was clear that Stephen was hurt, not just angry. Later that night, Leah decided to sleep again because she needed answers. She still had to solve the mystery around Patricia and find out how Thomas was going to die. But this time, when she woke up in the past, she found herself inside the body of her own father, young Stephen. The date was June 20th, 1991, and she already knew what this meant. Tomorrow night, Thomas would die. So now the situation felt even more urgent. She needed to find a way to stop it. A little later, Marina and Thomas came to Stephen's house to practice for their music performance. The festival performance was happening tomorrow, but Thomas looked upset and had no mood to rehearse. After playing for a short time, he angrily walked out. Leah, still inside Stephen's body, couldn't let him go like that. She knew Thomas was hurting inside, and she was worried he might do something harmful out of sadness. So she followed him. Since she already knew from Marina's timeline that Thomas loved camping, she suggested they go camping in the mountains again. Thomas agreed. Later, after they set up their tent and lay down under the night sky, Thomas finally spoke from his heart. He said Stephen needed to stop hiding the truth and tell everyone about their secret. He said living in fear was destroying both of them, and they couldn't keep pretending forever. Leah was confused at first. Since she was in Stephen's body, she didn't know what secret Thomas meant. Only Thomas and the real Stephen knew the truth. But slowly, through the conversation, Thomas revealed everything. Stephen never loved Marina. Stephen was gay, and he and Thomas had been in a secret romantic relationship. Stephen had never told anyone because he was scared of being judged, rejected, or hated. He had also forced Thomas to keep the relationship hidden. Leah felt completely shocked. Her mind struggled to accept the reality. Suddenly, all earlier strange moments made sense. Stephen's jealousy, his behavior, his sadness, none of it was about Marina. It had always been about Thomas. Until now, Leah thought her mother Marina had secretly loved Thomas. But the truth was the complete opposite. Thomas loved her father. Stephen wasn't going to Paris with Thomas because he was scared of people knowing the truth. Instead, he had decided to stay in the same town and marry Marina, just so people would see him as a normal man. And this is why Thomas had been so heartbroken these past days. He wasn't upset because someone betrayed him. He was upset because he was losing the person he loved. Leah also remembered her present life, how her parents always fought, how her mother never seemed happy. She now understood why. Marina only learned the truth after their marriage, and by then, it was too late. After learning all of this, Leah couldn't hold back her emotions anymore. She cried and returned home. Her mission, which already felt complicated, now felt impossible. Later, when she slept again, she returned to the present timeline. But now something painful was happening. Thomas's body had been found by the police, and they were holding his funeral. All his old friends gathered there, including Sandra. Stephen stood among them, heartbroken, saying that Thomas was the only one who ever truly understood him. And after Thomas died, he never felt happy again. After the ceremony, Thomas's remains were buried. Later that day, Leah told Rainey everything she had discovered. She said that the next time she fell asleep, she would wake up directly on June 21st, the festival night, the night Thomas dies. This would be her final chance to save him. But after listening carefully, Rainey shared a shocking theory. Maybe Leah should not save Thomas. She explained, if Thomas lives, then Stephen will never marry Marina. And if Stephen never marries Marina, then Leah will never be born. So if Leah saves Thomas, she will erase her own existence, which meant one painful truth. To stay alive, Leah would have to let Thomas die. After hearing everything, Leah became quiet and started thinking deeply. Rainey's words made sense. If she saved Thomas, she might erase herself from existence. So Leah decided one thing. She would not sleep tonight. If she didn't sleep, she wouldn't time travel again, and the past would stay the same. To help her stay awake, Leah and Rainey bought several energy drinks. They sat together, talking and keeping each other alert, hoping they could fight sleep. But after many hours, no matter how hard they tried, exhaustion took over. Slowly, their eyes closed, and they both fell asleep. When Leah opened her eyes again, she wasn't in her room. She was back in the past. It was the morning of June 21st, 1991, the night Thomas was supposed to die. And this time, just like the first day, she woke up inside Thomas's body again. This pattern now made sense to her. She started the 7 days as Thomas, then lived inside 6 different people's bodies. And now on the final day, she returned to Thomas. Tonight was the final moment. Everyone around her began getting ready for the festival performance, but Stephen looked extremely nervous and scared. He kept watching Thomas closely, worried he might tell someone about their secret relationship. He pulled Thomas aside again and warned him to stay quiet. A little later, Patricia, the woman sponsoring their performance, arrived and gave everyone drugs so they wouldn't feel nervous on stage. Sandra and Pietro also joined, and soon everyone was using drugs and laughing loudly. As night fell, most of them became very and unstable. Suddenly, Patricia realized something important. Her gun was missing from her purse. Everyone looked around and saw Pietro waving it around, treating it like a toy because he was so drunk. Before anything bad could happen, Stephen grabbed the gun away from him, but instead of putting it away, he pointed it at Thomas. His fear had turned into panic. He didn't want Thomas to reveal their relationship to anyone. Inside Thomas, Leah tried to speak calmly, but Stephen was too drunk to listen. His hands shook, his fingers slipped, and the gun fired. Thomas fell backwards into the river. Everyone stood frozen in shock. Stephen looked horrified. He never wanted to kill Thomas. He only wanted to scare him. But now he believed he had accidentally killed the person he loved. But the truth was very different. Thomas was still alive. The bullet had missed him. As Thomas, with Leah inside him, tried to swim out of the river on the opposite side, a group of boys appeared. They were secretly and thought Thomas had seen them. Afraid he might tell the police, they attacked him and tried to kill him. Leah recognized one of them, Jonathan, Sandra's brother. She remembered how Jonathan helped Sandra, even though she was pregnant. Using Thomas's voice, she called Jonathan by name and told him he couldn't kill anyone. She reminded him how Sandra chose not to end her pregnancy, and if she could protect a life, he should too. Jonathan froze. He was shocked, not just by the words, but by how Thomas knew a private family secret. Because of that moment of hesitation, Jonathan couldn't pull the trigger. For the first time, the timeline changed. Thomas lived. Thomas, still controlled by Leah, ran back to the festival grounds. His friends were sitting together, scared and shaking, believing Stephen had just killed Thomas. Stephen, crying and full of guilt, said he would turn himself in to the police. He believed he deserved punishment, but the others stopped him. They said if he confessed, all of them would get in trouble. They had taken drugs, the gun didn't have legal documents, and they were all involved. If the police knew what happened, they could all spend their lives in jail. So they made a painful agreement. No one would ever talk about what happened. The incident would stay a secret forever. While watching them from a distance, Leah finally understood the truth about her own life. This was the reason her parents were always sad and distant. This was why they avoided their old friends. They all believed Stephen accidentally killed Thomas, and they lived their entire lives carrying that guilt. Patricia threw her gun into the river because she thought it was the weapon that caused the death. But none of them ever knew the real truth. Stephen never killed Thomas. Jonathan did, out of fear during the incident. But now, because Leah was there, everything had changed. Thomas survived. After listening to her friends, Leah walked toward them, hugged them tightly, and told them that none of them were to blame. Everyone felt calmer and relieved seeing Thomas alive. Soon it was time for the band's performance. After the chaos of the day, they decided to start fresh and give it their best. That night, they performed with full passion, and it became not only their best performance ever, but also the best performance of the entire festival. After the show, Stephen, Marina, and Thomas, still controlled by Leah, went for a walk. Leah felt emotional because she knew this was her last moment. Since the past had changed, she would disappear and never exist. During the walk, Stephen finally told Marina the truth. He could not marry her because he and Thomas were in a romantic relationship. He said hiding this truth would make both their lives unhappy. Tonight's events gave him courage, and he didn't want to live in fear anymore. Marina felt sad, but she also understood. By telling her the truth now, Stephen saved her from a hurtful future. So she forgave both him and Thomas. The three agreed they wouldn't break their band. Instead, they would move to Paris soon and continue their music dreams together. Stephen also said he would openly tell everyone that he wasn't straight. Leah felt peaceful. Even though she would never be born now because her parents wouldn't get married, she was happy knowing she had changed everyone's future for the better. Now no one would live with guilt, fear, or secrets. Before sunrise, Leah wrote everything inside Thomas's diary: how she saw his dead body in the future, how she time traveled, and how she changed everything to save him. When morning arrived, the real Thomas woke up and Leah disappeared forever. She no longer existed in the world. Thomas found the diary beside him and read it, confused. He had no idea who Leah was. He went home, and his father apologized for being strict and promised to support Thomas's music dream from now on instead of forcing him to work on the farm. Later, Thomas asked his brother Sam if he knew someone named Leah. Sam shocked him by saying, "Yes, 7 days ago, you woke up saying you weren't Thomas, you were Leah, a girl from the future." Suddenly, everything made sense. Thomas couldn't remember yesterday or the days before, and his friends couldn't remember them either, which meant the diary was real. Leah was Stephen and Marina's future daughter, the girl who came from the future and saved his life. But now, because the timeline changed, she would never be born. Thomas finally understood the truth, but he could never say thank you to her. Leah sacrificed everything, even her own existence, to fix everyone's future. And with that emotional yet hopeful ending, the story comes to a close. Tell us in the comments, how did you feel about this twist-filled series? And if you want another mind-bending time travel mystery, subscribe now. Thank you.